Millions of people use Apple products. Likely, you have one or more yourself. Have you ever taken the time to read the terms and conditions? I know what you're thinking. Does anyone ever? Well, maybe you should, and here's why. It is a legally binding agreement. Do you read your employment contract? Did you read a contract when you purchased your car or any other contract that you signed? In 2014, a security company tested a theory and provided a free Wi-Fi spot in London. But buried under the terms and conditions was an unacceptable condition which obliged the user to give up their firstborn child. While this was only an experiment, how do you know your rights and obligations if you simply click I agree without reading? So while most of us will admit to not reading them, why is it so? When we look at Apple, you need an Apple account or Apple ID if you want to use iTunes, Mac App Store, iBooks, Apple Music or Apple TV Store. So basically, if you ever want to purchase or rent software or media from Apple, there's more than one way to create this account. However, beware, if you go ahead and do so in a browser, you can look long and hard for terms and conditions. The only available reading is their privacy policy, and you will need to go on a Google hunt to find terms and conditions. If you create the account using iTunes Store, you will be presented with pages and pages of legal language, parts of which are capitalized and very difficult to read. So most of us will just click that button and be done with it. Oh wait, did I say purchase software from Apple? You cannot actually do that. You can only borrow it. What, you didn't know? Well, it is in their terms and conditions. In the terms and conditions, most of the questions you might have are actually answered. It starts with basic terms of sale, clarifying your responsibility to pay Apple what Apple is due. You are not to modify the software in any form, you agree to obey the law, you might be exposed to things you find offensive or don't like, but Apple will not be held responsible. Prices can change anytime. Apple is not responsible if you lose your code or gift card. If account is inactive, any credit expires after 2 years of inactivity. Apple account can only be used for personal, non-commercial use. Children under the age of 13 can only have an account as a part of family sharing or approved educational institution. Apple ID can be used on up to 10 devices. It is your responsibility to ensure you have a backup, as Apple is not liable for any damage or loss if the services become unavailable, and it does not guarantee this availability. Do not use any services for illegal activities. If your account is fraudulently used, Apple can close it. If you submit materials to music, books, app, and interactive services, they might be used by Apple. You are not allowed to burn video content. You can only burn audio playlists up to 7 times and no more. Your rental must be used within the time frame given by Apple. If content is not available, Apple will not be held responsible. Services come as is and as available with no guarantees, but Apple reserves the right to change the rules. In such case, it will notify you. Apple can change the game anytime for no reason and not be held responsible for it. Apple also gives some health advice. If you play games or watch videos, take breaks and stop it if you start feeling dizzy. And my favorite part of this agreement is Apple is not responsible for typographic errors. Back to the account creation. In order to do so, you need to provide your name, address, date of birth, and so on. All of these details are compulsory. Wow, you might think, that is a lot of information that you might not want to share with the world. Maybe you should use false details, but wait, if you do, you are breaching the agreement. And not only that, you must keep these up to date too, as if you don't, you breach the agreement. So you decide to provide all the details Apple wants. But how does Apple treat this information? What do they do with it? Well, according to Apple itself, it is very careful with regards to collection and retention as well as sharing of your data. Apple collects data to benefit you. Apple will share your details to provide or improve services. However, some parts of the terms and conditions do need some thinking about. For example, registration data may be transferred to Apple to US and other countries where Apple maintains control according to the local law, not the local law or country you live in. Apple also collects your data and data of your family and friends, but only uses it to help with your requests and to your benefit, to improve services and send you notice as well as analysis and research. However, Your information will also be shared with the law, government, and others if Apple deems it needed to ensure compliance with terms and conditions. It will also disclose the information in your, but also outside your country, to enforce the agreement or in matters of national security.